Hi everyone, welcome to Blumberr Healthcare Podcast again, where we explore conversations with professionals who are shaping healthcare from within the system. Today we have with us Dr. Misbahuddin Habeeb, a healthcare professional and entrepreneur who is deeply passionate about doing innovative things within the healthcare ecosystem. Dr. Habeeb is the founder of Evergreen Health, an initiative focused on improving access in healthcare services and strengthening patient support systems. He is also into aviation ambulance services, an area that plays a crucial role in emergency medicine by enabling people to move from one place to another through air. That's an interesting take on that, right? From this is especially, I think it's important where there is from the rural setup where the patients have to be moved under critical conditions. I think this is one of the key requirements these days.
Thank you so much, Pushpalata, firstly for organizing this and for having me here.
Yeah.
I think it's really a wonderful platform for us to share ideas and to see how we can solve the real world problems in the most practical way.
Sure.
So pleasure is all mine,
Yeah.
and let's get going.
Sure. Today we'll talk about your journey from being a doctor to an entrepreneur to why you chose air ambulance and this emergency medicine as your specialization.
Sure.
Welcome on board, doctor.
Thank you so much, Pushpa. Looking forward to this.
Yeah. So, so your journey in healthcare, how did it start?
After my high school, I wanted to become an engineer.
Okay.
However, my father wanted me, somebody in the family, to be a doctor.
Okay.
And probably I wanted to fulfill the wish of my father. So thought, why not I take this up, and that's where things began.
Okay.
And that's how embarked on this journey. And then as things kept rolling out, we had a very good time with my seniors, with my colleagues, with my mentors, with my teachers, who have shaped me to be what I am today.
Okay.
And that's how the journey in healthcare started.
Okay.
And ever since then, it's been quite satisfying and quite fruitful in a way that we have been able to touch more and more lives and enable more and more patients get what they truly desire to get.
So you are into emergency medicine, right? What inspired you to move into this journey?
I chose emergency medicine during my internship.
Okay.
And during our MBBS, we have a 12-month long internship.
Okay.
And in that, every department we serve for a couple of months. In some departments, it's 1 month.
Yes.
And it keeps rolling out through the entire year. However, when it came to our voluntary picks, in that as well, I have chosen emergency medicine.
Okay.
And I spent all my time in emergency medicine. And even when I was an intern in other departments, I used to, after the shift timings of that particular department, I used to again go back to the emergency department.
Okay.
And spend the entire evening or the entire night, sometimes the entire night even until the dawn. And then again resume back the duties the next day in another department. So it's not glorifying of the stressful life that I have been. The only thing is I was that passionate and interested to join emergency medicine because that's where I felt is the impact that is seen immediately. If somebody is in an emergency or a critical situation or a life-threatening emergency or a limb-threatening emergency, and you do some interventions, you are immediately able to see results. In most of the times in emergency medicine, it so happens that in close to around 75 to 80% of the times, you see the outcomes of your interventions in few minutes.
Okay.
And that's what pulled me towards emergency medicine. And to me as a young intern, it used to look like, okay, I become an instant hero.
Okay.
Yes, and I relieve people from their suffering or pain almost instantaneously by doing certain life-saving or limb-saving interventions. And that's what pulled me towards emergency medicine. Of course, that was a very short-sighted view.
Okay.
However, after getting into emergency medicine, that's when I realized how intense, definitely, how deep, how broad, and more importantly, how versatile emergency medicine is. And that's what further pulled me into emergency medicine, and that's how I keep going ahead.
I agree. I mean, I've been talking to a couple of the doctors also who are into critical care and emergency, and they also tell me the same thing where they also say that they need to take decisions in like minutes, just see through the data and understand what the person is going through. And
True. Sometimes we take decisions without the data.
So you don't have data, okay?
Absolutely. Somebody just brings in a patient or a victim from a roadside accident, and probably there is no family member or relative along. That person is just unconscious. You hardly have any past data. You just assess on spot and you take decisions because you have to save the life.
So how do you take such decisions on the spot?
Well, it's definitely through the learning and training. The best part of today's emergency medicine practice, be it in India or anywhere else, is that it is largely protocol based. We know in what situations what protocols has to be followed, and these protocols are ever evolving based on the recent most advancements and the evidence based research that is going. And that is what is making things better in emergency medicine, not just for the doctors but also for the patients, because they are receiving the right care and the most advanced scientific evidence based care. So that's what helps us as well. We know that if this is a situation, then this is the next step to be taken. Then if this particular is the outcome of that first intervention, then this is the next step to be taken. So this becomes a very structured, organized way of handling emergencies. And that's what helps us take decisions even with the least amount of information.
Got it. So that's where you started Evergreen Health, or what was the purpose behind Evergreen Health?
The purpose behind Evergreen Health was initially when we started back in 2024, it was largely for training people in pre-hospital care response. In simple words, just to help you give a little context and background, whenever we face an emergency in a hospital, right, when we see a patient being brought inside the hospital in an emergency department, more often than not, we do realize that this person could have been saved, or probably something better could have been done before the patient reached the hospital. And that only comes in when there is a very robust and organized pre-hospital care. In India, pre-hospital care is still in very much infantile stages, or probably in very naive stages. And it's still evolving. It's a very new field. And when we understood that situation, that is when I started Evergreen Health in order to start training people and prepare the communities who are out there, so that the basic things like what must have happened, whether I should take to the hospital or not take to the hospital. Right? For example, I'll give you, suppose there is a person, you come out, you wake up one day, you come out in your balcony, and then you see on the ground there is a person who is walking, but suddenly he need not even faint, suddenly he starts sweating a lot. Right? And then he suddenly seems very restless and very much confused. In that particular situation, should you take him to the hospital or should you not take him to the hospital? Do you think he needs medical support? Do you think he needs any medical help or does not need a medical help? That actually can decide the next hours, next few hours, and subsequently the life of the patient. Because such symptoms can be in a silent heart attack, can be in low blood sugars, can be in very high blood sugars, can be in a stroke, could be in any of such medical emergencies.
So when you say Evergreen Health enables this particular person who is viewing that person's situation, he will.
So we started with community preparedness. We started training the people on how to identify the medical emergencies first. How to identify cardiac arrest, how to identify if a person is in having stroke, or person is in hypoglycemia, or patient has got a heart attack. So we first taught them how to identify. Then we taught them what to do. Then we taught them what not to do. Because a lot of people, specifically in the anxiety, in the panic,
Yeah.
And obviously, when you know what to do, in the
Situation.
essence of doing something really good, in some way or the other, they may do something which is not to be done. So we took it stepwise.
Yeah.
So we first told them how to identify, then what to do, then what not to do, then how to
approach.
immediately seek medical assistance. In what situation you should seek, in what situation you should not seek, in what situation you can take some time, in what situation you can observe. That's where Evergreen Health started. And that's where we started preparing the communities, training them and educating them, making them aware, making them more prepared for handling medical emergencies. Then slowly over a period of time, recently, up until recently, we have also started adding other services in the form of air ambulance, in the form of long journey transfers, in the form of training EMS systems, in the form of training some of the hospitals and their staff in dealing with these situations, because such knowledge gaps do exist in the hospitals itself. So these have to be trained well to the hospital staff as well.
What is EMS system?
EMS is nothing but emergency medical response system. There are so many companies out there which run ambulances, and as well as emergency response, which is nothing but providing a paramedic and providing some first aid. All these we are trying to train them so that it becomes more and more organized and structured. Because if you see at a large macro level, in India there is no one protocol or a program or a particular organized way of education which says that okay, this is the problem statement and this is how you need to approach it.
Yes.
There are, and it's not that we do not have good ones. We have a lot of good people who are doing it,
Correct.
but everybody is doing in their silos. And because of those individual way of dealing with things, there is a difference, and the care given or the care prepared or the healthcare professional that is prepared, he does not have the same amount of skill set or the expertise, or maybe the care that is being delivered is not standardized.
Correct.
So and this is quite contrasting to many of the developed countries of the world, like for example United Kingdom, Germany, Australia. They know that if this is a situation of the patient, whether there are 200 paramedics or 200 doctors or 200 critical care nurses, whoever is responding to the patient, everybody will respond in the same way.
Okay, they have a set system of
Yes,
or
that
structure.
system and standardized approach is unfortunately lacking in India.
Okay.
Though a lot of people are doing much better work in silos and in pockets. So to bring that to one standardized way of approach, that is where we are trying to even collaborate with EMS systems and ensuring that they also come to that particular standards.
Understood. So, doctor, before, like you would have started this program, Evergreen Health or the company, right, with the with your data in place, right? So, how many people, or in India right now, how many people are actually losing or are at loss because the general public or the paramedics don't know what protocol to be followed?
If we talk about data, just the data from the national highways, daily approximately 2,000 deaths happen on the national highways across India.
Correct.
Now, I'm quite not sure whether this data also covers accidents which are off the highways, but definitely this is the data from the National Highways authorities.
Okay.
And more than 2,000 people die every day. Every day 2,000, and most of these are young people.
Yes.
Most of them are young people, either in the form of two-wheeler riders or in the form of large heavy vehicles, drivers, or in the form of the low weight motor vehicles as well, lightweight motor vehicles as well. So yes, there are a lot of statistics out there, but the thing is, those statistics are the same or they are getting worse each time. When I say worse each time, the numbers are only increasing in terms of mortalities and morbidities.
Okay.
Right? But there is nothing that is done, an intervention that is taken, even until today, that are actually bringing down these numbers.
Okay. So I think it's really important that, as you said, like general public myself, should know what needs to be done. There was one case where I came across a person had jumped we were living in an apartment complex, and one lady jumped from third or fourth floor. I don't really know whether she did it intentionally or otherwise, but I was called immediately, and by the time we came there, nobody knew what to do, and we just had called the ambulance, and she lost, and we lost her.
True.
So yeah, that happens. Very
And in this, another aspect of this is the medical legal aspect. Right? Firstly, we are not aware what needs to be done medically. We are unaware what needs to be done legally.
Yeah, exactly.
We are unaware what needs to be done medico-legally.
Okay, that's
Yes.
another.
Yes, of course,
Yeah,
of course,
okay.
yes. And amongst all of this, we think as witnesses to this particular incident that if I have informed the police, my job is done. Or if in case I have informed an ambulance driver or an ambulance service provider, then my job is done.
Yeah.
But clearly no. Clearly no. We can do much better as a society. We can contribute much at a larger level as a community, and definitely that is going to improve the current situation and the circumstances that we face.
So, what were the key challenges that you faced? I think I'm a little low, no? My voice is like that. Okay, I'll try to be loud. And doctor, whenever you want to have some tea, you can let me know.
I'm completely good.
Okay.
Yes, I had lunch and immediately I came back.
Okay, great. Okay, when you started Evergreen Health, what are some key challenges that you came across? Because you said you're trying to educate the general public and also the EMS system, which needs to have a certain standardized protocols. That means there are a lot of people that are involved, a lot of equipment required. So what kind of challenges did you initially face?
So I would put it first absolutely, and then I will try to put it in a contrasting and relative way.
Sure.
In an absolute way, I think it is largely the acceptance of the people that they need to know this.
Okay.
And when I talk about the contrasting perspective to this, if you look at developed countries or even the other developing countries which are parts of Asia and Africa, people want to be ready to deal with such situations.
Okay.
But here in India, either we think that I am never going to face this ever.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, why will this ever happen to me?
Yeah. And if it all happens, I know how to push it away.
Yes. And the second thing is, if in case it happens, I know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
I am prepared. But there is no particular metric or a calculator or a scale which can tell you how prepared you are.
True.
Until you know what actually is called prepared. Yes. That is where is the biggest gap. And to convince people to have, see, I'll put it in one another way. If you are aware, in developed countries, they also have a budget for healthcare and emergency training.
Okay.
They have allocated budgets. That means some part of money in a particular year has to go through preparedness of the community, has to go through educate the people and make them aware. In India, there is no such concept.
Yeah.
So anything that a person even wishes to learn, they obviously think that, okay, why should I put in that much effort? And we all think that, oh, this is never going to happen to me. That's the Indian mentality. Whatever may happen, it's not just about medical or healthcare, by the way. In healthcare, it is even more prevalent. However, even not in healthcare, right? Just to give you an example, for example, there is a fight going on between probably two neighbors, or maybe a neighbor and probably legal agency.
Okay.
Probably a police and a neighbor, right? If I am one of the person who is witnessing it, me as an Indian, I am least bothered. I always think, okay, it's between the police and my neighbor. It will never happen to me.
Okay.
Right?
I understand what you're saying.
So what I'm not trying to put your neighbor in the bad light nor the police. I'm just trying to tell you that at any cost, in India, the mindset is that this will never happen to me. And all the communities which have this mindset are usually the ones who actually become the victims first. That is an unfortunate truth, right? I working in emergency departments, coming again back to the medical case scenarios. So many people, when we went to educate them, they used to come and listen to us, and they used to tell us, okay, please tell us what to do if in case there is a chest pain, if in case there is breathing difficulty. At the same time, the people from the same community, there were a lot who were like, no, this is not required for me, right? So and such people only first presented to the emergency departments, who actually did not wanted to be educated. And they presented very, very late after the complications of that emergency situations have arisen. And that only worsens the things for them.
True.
So we need to take actions and steps, not just on an individual basis, but as a community level. If you are prepared, you are not just helping yourself, but also you are helping your family, your loved ones, your neighbors, and the community at large.
Correct. So, doctor, this is just my curiosity I'm asking. There are community care doctors also prevalent in every hospital possible. Now, how much of their contribution is also helping evergreen?
It does help. We have tied up with certain hospitals, and in some of the communities or residential societies, where we are able to see that the hospital is very close by, or the hospital themselves are showing interest to come and take a part and contribute towards these training sessions. We usually do it along with them as a collaborative effort, and it usually helps them as well. It usually helps the hospital as well, because now they know some heads of the communities, they know some leaders of the residential societies, right? And the secretaries of the residential areas and households. And when a victim or a patient from such communities come, they are usually familiar, and there's already an established relationship that is there. So it's a win-win when we collaborate with hospitals, specifically which are in the vicinity of the communities and residential societies.
So, how much of Evergreen Health work so far has improved the accessibility of healthcare for the general public?
Firstly, if we look at from the education and awareness point of view, healthcare has become more and more accessible, because when we go and teach them about preparedness, we also tell them more about preventive care, or when to seek medical support, or when to seek healthcare. How to seek, when to seek, and why to seek a healthcare provider support. Right? And that only and only increases the access of healthcare to the people. So if in case you are asking from that perspective, yes, it has increased the access. Apart from that, because we are into pre-hospital care space, which is nothing but taking a patient from one point to the other point where the healthcare facility can actually provide the right definitive care, then yes, that also improves the access. Yes, we have contributed in that way as well.
Understood. So it is both roadways and airways.
Evergreen Health is largely into air transfers. We do long distance road transfers of patients as well, in road ambulances and even in train. However, our niche and our expertise is in air. We do road also, but of course it's something which we keep doing it a little on and off basis when compared to air. Is like we do it daily
on a daily basis. Yes. Why is this passion for aviation ambulance?
So
I remember you telling me once that you wanted to become a pilot.
I wanted to become a pilot. Yes, during my childhood, I wanted to become a pilot. And I was convinced somehow that because of my eyesight and because of some other reasons, probably I may not be able to become a pilot. Of course, as a small child, I believed that, and I never tried going into that area of flying. But then when I came across my during my emergency medicine residency, when I came across courses from aviation medicine, that's what again sparked my childhood kind of a dream or a passion to fly around, and that's what made me again go through the formal training and become a doctor who actually transfers patients by air throughout the globe.
This particular line of education about emergencies through addressing emergencies through air ambulance is not well known, right? Can you please explain where exactly you studied for this course?
Sure. So, if you actually, we think that air ambulance or air patient transfers are not quite popular. I wouldn't want to put it in the form of statistics, but
Okay.
I would definitely want to say that it is not as less popular as we think.
Okay.
It's definitely because in India, as of today, I think monthly around 90 to 100, somewhere between 90 to 100 patients are being transferred by air.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
And that is nothing but it's approximately around 20 in a week.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
through multiple service providers and through multiple airlines and charter aircrafts.
20 to 30
So
easily.
yes,
Yeah.
and that is a significant number, by the way, and that number was not probably I think less than 5 in a week, probably 10 years back.
Okay.
And COVID has changed a lot of things, because during COVID, one of the earliest modes of transportation which was open for patients was by air,
Oh, is it okay?
and that pushed people into thinking about air ambulance, and that's what actually built a lot of air ambulance service providers in India,
Okay.
and then it's been growing ever since.
You have been associated with Apollo, right, for air ambulance and.
Not actually. I have done my undergraduation from Apollo and my post-graduation also from Apollo.
Oh, okay.
Once I finished my emergency medicine, I was associated with a Bangalore-based company by name ICAT, Air Ambulance Company.
I care.
Yes,
Okay.
it's ICAT Air Ambulance Company,
ICAT.
and that was again that was also the company where actually I took a lot of my training, and then following which. My training was in collaboration with Air Ambulance Cancer Sussex. It's it is a air ambulance service provider, a trust-based, charity-based air ambulance service provider in the south of London through the Little Aerodrome.
Okay.
And following which, I after getting the certificate, I cleared that as with
Flying colours.
flying colors, definitely with distinction. In fact, I did very well during that phase. And then when I came back, then I continued to work as a consultant in emergency medicine at one of the private hospitals in Hyderabad, and then subsequent to which I was working with another company, which was where I was completely heading the air ambulance vertical.
Okay.
Subsequent to which I opened my own Evergreen Air Ambulance through Evergreen Health.
Wow. Okay. So it's like 5-6 years.
I've been doing air transfers since 2020. So yes, you are right, almost 5.5 years.
Great. So.
COVID time, peak COVID time. Yes.
So you started during peak COVID time.
My first year.
So for the general public who don't know about air ambulance, can you please explain how air ambulance emergency services actually work?
Okay. So air ambulance is not always emergency services.
Okay.
Specifically in India, it is largely inter-facility transfers which are quite popular,
Okay.
which is nothing but transferring from one healthcare facility to the other healthcare facility.
Okay.
Although a lot of emergency services do happen, specifically in remote areas, specifically in the states of Madhya Pradesh, in the states of even in Rishikesh, quite up near Ladakh, and you must have seen even the defense getting involved in evacuating patients and doing providing emergency medical services to them. So yes, but the most common and the most popular are the inter-facility transfers, which are nothing but transferring patients from one facility to the other.
Okay.
So in general, if you look at from a very macro level operational perspective, you can divide the air ambulance services into largely three types.
Okay.
The first type is providing patient air transportation services in a charter aeroplane,
Okay.
right, which we call as fixed wing charters.
Okay.
And once we take a patient from any specific location, we take him to the nearest airport and we take him inside a charter aircraft which has a stretcher, oxygen arrangement, medical, all the medicine and equipment that a patient requires. We can simulate almost an entire ICU.
Okay.
And then we can transfer him to the destination.
That charter flight is converted into an emergency care unit.
Yes. So basically, there is all equipment that we carry,
okay,
along with all the life support requirements.
Okay.
And then the patient is on the stretcher, and then we connect him to the life support equipment and the life support medicines or interventions that need to be done, and then we transfer the patient. So that is the first type. The second type is doing something similar in a helicopter, which is nothing but rotor wing or rotary wing, right? So that is what we do, and this gives us an advantage of landing anywhere, provided we get the right permissions.
Yeah, helipads.
The relevant permissions, helipad or even empty good hard grounds, wherein a helicopter can land and then take off, with obviously some certain required permissions from the local authorities or the district magistrates. Then the third type is by transferring patients in commercial airlines, which are nothing but airlines like that of Air India, Indigo, and Emirates, and Air France, Lufthansa, and you just name it, Thai Airways, Singapore Airlines and stuff. So yes, what we do is, again, in this we can arrange a stretcher, we can arrange some life support equipment, we can arrange portable oxygen concentrator, we also transfer patients on ventilator as well, but obviously in this, because it is through an airline, we need to undergo a certain medical approval process, and the arrangements have to be understood clearly by the airline, because it is the airline who is arranging a lot of things at the back end. So they also have to undergo a vigorous process to ensure that everything is in place, the stretchers are properly put, the oxygen is arranged, how much is required, if required a power source, right? All these have to be arranged by them. So we need to do appropriate paperwork and documentation, and that is when we submit it to them. Then they give us the resources and the date to travel, and then that's how we do it. In this, again, we can arrange a stretcher, the patient can completely lie down and go, or we can arrange on a seat if the patient can sit and go, or a business class seat wherein the patient can sit for some time and can even lie down for some time. Because nowadays we are having almost 180 degrees reclining business class seats, quite comfortable. So that's how, based on the patient's requirement and the request that we put in, they are usually ready to.
These requirements, like whichever mode you said, right? The three of them, the helicopter or the commercial or the charter flights. This depends on cost and the emergency itself, right? Or
this largely depends on two things. The first thing is the medical situation of the patient. The second thing is the operational feasibility.
Okay.
And then comes the cost, obviously. Operational feasibility decides the cost. But it's largely operational feasibility, because firstly, there has to be an airstrip or a runway nearby for a fixed wing to land. If not, then that's out of question. Right? So yes, so it's operational feasibility and the medical situation as well. If the medical situation demands immediate evacuation, then you obviously have to send a charter plane. If the medical situation demands that a very high end or multiple life supports are required, then a commercial airline may not be able to support it. So that's why medical situation of the patient as well as the operational feasibility, both are very important, and both are the deciding factors. Of course, in India, because it's not a completely public sector driven healthcare, and it's not even a majority of insurance covered population. Many people put out from their pocket. So yes, cost and finances do become decisive factors. However, first it is medical situation and the operational feasibility.
Got it. So can you think of any emergency situation that you have undergone, like you have faced, where you had to move the patient or evacuate a patient from using the airways?
Absolutely, there are multiple. I mean,
on a daily basis, I guess.
There are a lot. In fact, I think I was showing you pictures last time.
Yes, I do remember.
So I can recall that again, which is nothing but we were posted as standby medical response and evacuation team in Jagdalpur during the Chhattisgarh elections. And during that time, there was a military personnel who actually stepped onto a IED. He stepped onto it and just blasted, and his entire foot was disfigured. The picture which I showed to you, right? So yes, so we immediately evacuated him from Jagdalpur to Raipur, AIMS Raipur, and then AIMS Raipur couldn't do the entire. Of course, they handled the emergency part of it. We did the pre-hospital emergency. We stopped the bleeding. We quickly evacuated. We put the tourniquet, and we did all of that. We tried to preserve as much tissues as possible. We tried to ensure that as much blood flow is ensured as to the extremities. And then we took to AIMS Raipur. AIMS Raipur did the initial. In AIMS Raipur, I think he was there for 12 or 13 hours. Where they did the initial, again, the preliminary limb saving measures and everything. But for the complete restructuring and the reorganization of the foot and the definitive surgery and treatment, we again took him to AIMS Delhi.
AIMS Delhi, okay.
Yes, so that was one, and
his foot was saved?
His foot was reconstructed. So under plastic surgery there is something called reconstructive surgery. So his foot had to be reconstructed because it was in multiple.
Muscles would have.
There was hardly anything, right? It was completely blasted. There was one other child, infant of 2.5 months.
2.5 months, okay.
Sorry, my bad. 2.5 days.
2.5 days.
Yes, 2.5 days. The neonate was there, who was in Ranchi, and this child was got multiple heart complications, congenital heart diseases, basically, in which the patient's blood gets mixed up, the child's blood gets mixed up, the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood gets mixed up, and that's why oxygen is not reaching to all parts of the body. How much it has to be received? Some of the oxygen is going, but it's not adequate. So that is the situation, and obviously that can lead to complications like infection and failure of respiratory system, failure of the entire cardiac system, circulatory system, I mean. So yes, the child in 2.5 days had developed those complications as well. So we had, when we came to know, we immediately rushed and we got him to Hyderabad, and then we did the corrective surgery, and then recently we also came to know that the child was discharged very well in a healthy condition. Yes.
So how do you feel looking at all these patients who are again going back to their normalcy?
Definitely it is quite fulfilling and satisfying. There's no doubt about it. And I always narrate this to people that a lot of satisfaction to us, definitely as we are executing aid transfers, a lot of satisfaction to us comes when we actually hand over the patient at the destination hospital. Because that's where our, whatever we are doing, the responsibility is now ends. Right? Responsibility ends with the handover of the patient to the destination hospital. But that is our satisfaction. How we look at as healthcare providers or professionals.
That's your success metric.
Yes.
That can be defined as your success metric.
One of our success metrics, of course, in my healthcare outcomes, of course, thankfully, touch wood, we have saved. There's nothing that has happened to the patient so far. We were able to successfully transfer all the patients in almost all the times in much better condition than what we have received them in.
Okay, great.
So thankfully we have been quite fortunate in that way. However, yes, as healthcare providers, that's where our responsibility ends at the destination hospital handover, and that's where we feel satisfied that okay, we have accomplished the transfer. But a lot of times, what becomes a really good, what gives us a really good feeling to us is the smile that we see on people's face the moment we land at the origin hospital. Some of the times people are waiting for us at the hospital gate.
Understood.
Or at the hospital entrance. And they are just waiting, and the moment we step out of our vehicles or the ambulance, we see a smile on their face then and there. We see them becoming less anxious. We see them getting completely, yes. The way they come, the way they greet us, the way they welcome us, the way they hug us, the way they shake hands, that itself tells us that okay, we didn't know what to do, because more often than not we usually pick up patients who probably in that particular city or in a significant reasonable vicinity they have tried all sorts of healthcare measures or healthcare interventions, and then everything has failed. Now they would want to go somewhere else. So when they see that some escalation can be done from now onwards, that itself gives them that sense of fulfillment that oh, now the patient is going to become much better, because they are usually helpless going to one hospital to the other hospital in that same city or the rural area or the district. So now they know that okay, now they are going to definitely go to a place where things are going to be settled. So that's what, looking at their faces, and then a lot of families, more often than not, they treat us very well. They usually arrange food for us, they arrange vehicles for us, they arrange transportation, they arrange us drop back to the airports. So yes, so all of these only tells how happy and more importantly what in how impactful way we are contributing in their lives, and we are removing that stress. And that's what is actually the satisfaction that we get when we transfer this patient.
So in all this situation, you said there are 3 different types of carriers you work with, right? What has been your biggest operational and logistical challenges you have faced?
See, our challenges, there are 2 types of challenges. One that we probably can keep modifying, and one completely uncontrollable. And uncontrollable obviously are the weather, geopolitical situations,
macros.
Sorry?
The macros.
The macros, and sometimes it is the technical issues with the aircraft, because these are clearly not in our hands. These are all machines. This could go bad or wrong at any particular point in time, despite due diligence and due maintenance efforts. So yes, these are the things which probably are beyond control. But other challenges include a lot of coordination that comes, because coordination is the key here. You can only imagine that if in case I have to transfer a patient from, probably this is a hospital, right? For example, if this is a hospital, I name it as ABC hospital. Now if in case I have to transfer a patient from this hospital, a patient from here to probably, let's imagine, to Ames Delhi, right? Good example. So if in case I would want to do that, firstly I need to understand what is the situation of the patient. So first I will get in contact and touch with the ABC hospital's doctors. I need to understand. Then the family, obviously they need to know the finances, they need to know the plan, they need to know who are permitted, when can we go, everything they need to know. So
we need to arrange for the permissions.
Definitely, we need to put out a flying plan, the flight charter. Then we also need to take permissions. We need to take, if in case we are landing in places wherein there are no established ATCs, then we need to take some special permissions from the local magistrates and stuff. So we need to do all of that. So what happens is, from ABC hospital, then we need to coordinate with the land ambulance. Then we need to coordinate with the airport authorities. Then obviously the patient, through all of this, will go into the ambulance. And then once we land into the aircraft, and then from there again, once we land, then again the airport ambulance, then the outside ambulance, then the destination hospital, right? So all this has to be coordinated very well. And a lot of times, you have taken a good example of Ames Delhi. A lot of times, tertiary hospitals like public tertiary hospitals like Ames Delhi, they run out of beds. And if all of the sudden they say no, we do not have beds. It's a very big challenge for us. Correct. Right? And people are running all out of resources over here, and they were like, no, our doctors have clearly told us that the patient can now be treated only in this particular hospital. So these are a lot of challenges. And another thing is, because there are no set protocols or regulations with respect to air medical transfers yet. There are a lot of protocols and regulations which DGCA gives. There are a lot of protocols and regulations which are there by the aircraft operators, owners, or the aircraft carriers or service providers itself. There are a lot with the local airport authorities, but nothing of this is actually marrying with each other and integrated with each other.
Okay, everybody has independent bodies.
Yes, they are independent bodies and they prepare their own.
Okay.
And now what happens is we need to see how we need to navigate through them, and that becomes challenging at points.
Okay.
However, India has still come a long way. The last 5 to 6 years that I have seen, the things have tremendously changed, and they have only changed for better.
Okay.
Yeah, the transfer of patients by air today has become much simpler than what it was even 7-8 years back.
Great, amazing it is. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So this, you said that through your educative or training prospects that you are offering from Evergreen, the accessibility has also improved, right? And like life-saving medical transport system accessibility, how do people come to know about it? Because till the time I came across your profile in LinkedIn, I did not know aviation emergency is something that's happening in India. Trust me, I did not know.
Okay.
So, how do people actually access?
So, if we actually look at the number that I was telling to you, that number is quite insignificant if we actually look at the number of patients or number of people seeking healthcare today.
True, very true.
And one of the reasons is that not everybody requires an air transfer. Some of the healthcare providers that I really need to credit are the hospital that are coming up in the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities as well, which are actually able to cater at a multi-speciality level.
Okay.
So a lot of hospitals nowadays, even if you go to various tiers of the cities, you will see that at least 1 or 2 multi-speciality hospitals you are still able to find.
Sure.
Even if it is a rural area or even it's a tier 3 city. So now the requirement of air transfers need not be for everybody.
Okay.
However, to answer your question that how do we come to know?
How do we approach?
So of course we are there as one of the providers. You can definitely approach us.
Yeah.
We can provide our email IDs and our contact numbers. We can be approached through our website as well. And there are multiple service providers like out there in the market. If you Google today air ambulance in India, you will find at least around 50 air ambulance companies popping up. On Google, who claim to provide services. Of course, in these there are less than 10 who actually provide the services.
Because it also requires intervention doctors like yourself, right?
It does require. That's what. So there are a lot of people out there who just act as agencies and brokers and all, but they still claim that they are providing these services. Of course, they are providing these services in a way. So not that they are claiming it wrong. The other thing is they are not healthcare providers. So this could include airline operators. This could include aircraft owners. This could include insurance providers. This could include road ambulance agencies. They also do mention that we provide air ambulance services also. But when they get a requirement such that, then they forward us to us or companies like us who can actually execute it. So yes, there are multiple ways to access air ambulance services. But yes, so it's not that big of a hassle as of today in India.
Great. So you had also mentioned that you provide training for general communities out there. So for that also there are particular courses that you provide, or how do we understand that?
Yes, we do provide some courses. We have started something called the Golden Minute Movement. And Golden Minutes Movement, that is basically on how to save lives in the initial few minutes when a person requires medical support or attention. That is something which we have started, and through that we have some trainings, and we have something called as RISE program, which is largely for healthcare volunteers, right? Volunteers who are from different domains, like for example, policemen, for example, security guards,
Yeah.
and firemen,
Yeah.
and auto rickshaw drivers,
Yeah. Okay.
right? So all of these they become a part of that as well. So that stands for respond, inform, and respond, inform. I'm not getting the SE,
No, no.
but yeah, that's what we call it,
Okay.
RISC.
Okay.
So yes, that's that is also one of our programs.
Okay.
And then for some of the other people in schools, colleges, we actually train them BLS
Yeah. Yeah.
and CPR trainings. All of
Okay.
these that we do.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking about accessibility to air ambulance. Along with that, you also mentioned that you train a lot of communities and people, general public, right? What kind of courses or how do people access these courses that you offer at Aeromedical?
We offer multiple courses.
Okay.
One of the very nicely put courses is Golden Minutes Movement, that we call it, in which we train the community and non-healthcare professionals in providing healthcare or emergency support during the golden minutes, which are the first initial few minutes
Okay.
after an emergency has struck. Then we also have a program by the name of RISE, which is Respond, Inform, Stabilize, Evacuate, which we again train the first responders in the form of policemen, in the form of security guards, firemen, and professionals who largely deal with bigger crowds of people,
Okay.
event management and hotels, hotel staff, and etc. Then we also do a lot of courses in schools
Okay.
and also for the communities in schools, colleges, and students, which is nothing but BLS and responding to emergencies, CPR training, all of this that we do. And then yes, again, that can be accessed through our website, or it could be accessed through the phone numbers or through the social media handles that we have.
Awesome. Great. So you have said that over the last 5 to 6 years there has been an amazing or tremendous improvement in aviation services in India, especially for ambulance. What do you look at the future next 5 to 10 years about the same?
It's quite promising. In fact, now very soon you will see. In fact, I think Bangalore will be the first city where you will be seeing eVTOLs, which is nothing but electrical vertical takeoff and landing. Yes.
Okay.
So they are nothing but drones which can take patients.
Wow. Okay.
Right. And they could be remotely controlled. Need not be that a pilot is sitting inside. Right. They can be controlled remotely as well.
Yeah.
So yes. So those are all the things that are being developed. And apart from that, it is a lot of AI is now coming up, and probably artificial intelligence can make the flight plans, the route maps much more efficient, much more optimized kind of maps, and definitely it's going to be really exciting ahead, and that's why I think it's quite promising.
I have a couple of doubts here. And you said drone can pick up a patient. Like the drone can't provide the emergency care that the doctors provide.
True.
And second thing, how about the weight? I mean, of course, drones nowadays can do a lot of amazing things. I agree with that. But the main question remains about the service, like the emergency intervention that the doctor himself has.
No. It is controlled remotely from the operational aspect.
Okay.
But the doctor or a paramedic can go, yes,
Achha,
yes.
okay.
Either flies only or is already there at the scene.
Okay.
And empty, if it all goes, and then brings both of them.
So the
That can be
management
done.
is happening.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And what also can be done, probably very soon we will be seeing that in non-emergency situations, where in one facility to the other facility,
Yes.
right? It could be that something that is completely put up, and if in case the distance is hardly around by air, if it's around 20-25 minutes, then you can send it with not require a doctor, even with a nurse or any other elite healthcare professional
Trained
who can,
person.
trained professional who can take care during that brief time, and then the person is going to land there.
Right.
So yes, it's going to be a reality very soon.
So you said that the drones or the AI is going to provide a more structured networks across India.
Hopefully more efficient one, yes. Probably the structure will take a little time, but yes, definitely more because AI is in different fields. We are seeing how AI is optimizing and improving the efficiencies. I'm sure this is nothing different for it.
So for the young doctors who are looking at aviation ambulance services as one of the go-to careers, what do you advise them?
Well, it's a good place to be, and definitely a very nice, fruitful career can be built. The only thing is you should have. Many people do ask me that don't you get bored, or don't you get but because there is a lot of travel involved, or don't you get exhausted, don't you get stressed? I have only one answer for them, and it's very simple. Please come into this field only and only if you like to travel.
Okay.
If you do not like to travel, that excitement and adrenaline rush will stay only for the first 2 or 3 or 4 sorties or transfers. Once it fades away, it's only going to make it more and more stressful, and it's going to add more burden onto your mental capacities. So it's not going to be really helpful if in case you do not like travel. If you like travel, then you will enjoy it. If you do not like travel, then it's only a matter of time before you stop wanting to go into that ever again. Yes.
So it is like the person who enters into air ambulance, emergency services or transfers, right? They have to have a need to love travels.
Definitely, they need to keep traveling. They need to have affinity towards traveling. Just think. For me to transfer a patient from Bangalore to Delhi, I have traveled from Hyderabad to Bangalore, Bangalore to Delhi, then tomorrow I'm traveling back to Hyderabad, day after tomorrow I'm picking up a patient from Hyderabad to Ranchi, he's an MLA of Jharkhand, and then again I have to go back, and then subsequently on 15th I have another one that is going to get confirmed, right? So what I'm trying to tell is, as service providers, we have to travel more than the patient.
Of course.
Yes. And the patient that I'm actually taking tomorrow is the same patient whom I have taken in previously 7 times. Tomorrow is the 8th time I am going to take him in air.
Wow.
And this is probably one of the very, very few, at least in my experience and my knowledge that I have across the network I have got, I don't think any patient has traveled these many times with the same medical professional on an aircraft. So,
must be impressed with your services.
Definitely he is impressed. Not just that, we have built a really good relationship, and of course at Evergreen Health we value the relationships rather than it's never a transactional approach that we have. We always value we always value the intervention that we are doing. We always value the patient in front of us, and we definitely add value to whatever we are doing, each and every intervention that we are doing for the patient or their families. So that's what keeps the people always attached with us, and this is one of the very prime examples. So again, to get back to the question, the most important thing here is that you can only understand how much we have to travel. We have to travel 3 to 4 times more than the patient who is traveling. And for that, if you do not have the affinity towards travel, or if travel stresses you out, or if in case you do not if you do not enjoy traveling, then you are very soon going to find this particular service as very stressful.
Fatigued.
Definitely. A lot of people, they complain of fatigue, they complain of travel stress. Travel is a stressful process, definitely, no doubt about it. But you have to be resilient towards it. And more importantly, this time we are talking about some very close sectors. But once we travel to completely different part of the world, like for example, Canada, US, Mexico, right?
An international.
Of course. for so many of the companies in India, for different companies in India, I was the first person to unlock some of these countries which I have mentioned. Before them, they never had their in-house full-time medical teams who can travel to these countries.
Wow.
So wherever I have been in my previous companies also, I have actually made it possible for them. Until then, they never even dreamt that they could do it through their own medical teams. They used to outsource it to others.
Wow.
So yes, and when we go there, because the entire timeline changes, obviously jet lag sets in. It's long hour, long journeys. So yes, if in case you do not have affinity towards travel, you're going to lose it.
So how many international air travels have you done just for emergency services?
It's beyond count. Truly beyond count. I don't know. It must be a few hundreds. Yes.
Really great. Okay, so you have a team, right, who support you, like on ground or off ground or in the air, sorry, or not off ground, in the air. So do you train them or how do you build your team?
Now we actually have on ground and off ground as well. Off ground is our complete operations and coordination team,
Okay.
right? Which sits. We have multiple areas where they sit in across India.
Okay.
So from there they keep completely monitoring. Okay, this flight has taken off. Okay, this patient is going. Okay, sometimes many a times, not many a times, but significant amount of times we do have multiple transfers in a day. So they keep monitoring and tracking each and every transfer, and also all that happens off the ground. On the ground are our teams which ensure that if in case we tell this has to be arranged, it is there. The ambulance is prepared. The medical equipment is ready. These are all on ground, and then obviously we are the team of that we do air transfers along with the patients.
Okay.
So yes, so we have a good, nicely built, structured and organized way.
Okay.
And again, in these teams also we keep rotating people,
Okay.
so that it does not become only stress and fatigue of air travel on one particular person. So yes, we keep doing that checks and balances.
So apart from doctors also you have a team which supports
Yes, we have doctors, paramedics and registered nurses.
So you also said that you offer courses for general public and to the first level of people like policemen or the firemen, etc. Right? For that, what kind of teams you have built?
We have got pre-hospital care educators and instructors. Right, so these instructors are instructors in basic life support, advanced life support, disaster response, emergency preparedness, and handling basic and advanced emergencies, obstetric emergencies, pediatric advanced life support. So all these instructors and pre-hospital care educators, we have a learning and development wing. So all the trainings come under the L&D wing, which is the learning and development.
Awesome. Great, doctor. So as a closing statement, what do you think general public have to learn about emergency situations, or one statement that you would want to give to the general public when they are facing an emergency situation, be it at home, be it in the community, anywhere they are?
I wouldn't stop at one. Probably I have two or three.
Yeah, please go
The
ahead.
first thing that I would tell, if already facing an emergency, is please do not panic and please seek help.
Okay.
If you, and this is not just from me, if you even look at the largest of the largest evidence-based protocols which are given by the organizations followed all over the world, for example American Heart Association, which even the Indians follow, all the Indian emergency departments, almost every department follows American Heart Association's guidelines and protocols. Even there you will see that before intervening, call for help. Calling for, checking that the scene is safe and calling for help is the most important, because if you do not call help on time, you are basically wasting the first few important crucial minutes and seconds of that particular patient, and you can lose the patient, you can lose a life, or you can lose an organ in that particular minutes. So that is why the first thing that I would say is, please don't panic and immediately call for help. Unfortunately, many people, they think, no, let's just wait and watch, let's just give some water, let's just try waiting for the doctor. Let's go in the evening. There is a doctor who stays nearby, but currently is in the hospital. Once he comes in the evening, we'll show it to him.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
These are all that is very common in India.
Yeah.
And many of us feel that this is convenient as well. But what are we risking just to take convenience? We are actually risking lives.
Correct.
Right? So it's clearly not something worth. And coming to the second message that I would also want to give is, whether it is through Evergreen Health or with any other training or professional education providers, please learn how to respond in emergencies. If you learn today you may save somebody else's life, but because you have learned today, you will teach your own family and children who will save your own life one day.
Okay.
Right? That is the most important thing. And one of the reasons why we also do it is because tomorrow if something happens to me, somebody who is seeing me should not do something really stupid or foolish that I am losing my own life or my limb.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
My surroundings should be trained enough to take care of me.
Yeah.
Right? That should be the idea, and that is the message that I would put across.
Great. Thank you so much, Doctor. You took so much time, so much effort to come down to Bangalore and do this podcast with me. I really appreciate that, and thank you so much. It is, as you said, it is very important that we as individuals know what to do at the time of emergency and take the right guidance and support.
Thank you so much, Pushpa, for the initiative and for the wonderful work that you are doing. Wishing you all the very, very best going forward.
Thank you so
and it's been a really good learning and reflections that I was also having during these discussions.
Great.
So it's really a good experience, and hope to have these sessions more often.
Sure. Yeah,
and
I'm
definitely
looking
we can
forward.
do much better, and definitely we can keep educating people as much as possible.
Definitely.
Thank you so much once again for having me here. It was an absolute pleasure and honor.
Thank you so much.